Hello, our beautiful and amazing Army of Light, Earth Division, the boots on the ground here. Thanks for joining me, Shauna L. Francis, and today is January 20th, 2023. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so much better. I needed the day off. I blew off some steam, had a nice dinner, did some shopping, spent the night in San Jose del Cabo, which is one of the big towns that makes up Los Cabos. Between there's Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo makes up Los Cabos here at the tip of the Baja Peninsula. It's about an hour south of where I'm at now on the Sea of Cortez. Excuse me. Really much needed time off. I'm really feeling so much more anchored and grounded in my body in this mission. I had an incredible conversation with the late Queen Elizabeth here, and just really good information and feeling positive. Thank you, everybody who has been sending me healing energy and praying for me, and all your beautiful comments on YouTube, the emails that you're sending me. You guys are the best. You're absolutely the best. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks for coming back. I think this is number 5 here with Queen Elizabeth. So this is good stuff. I do expect to make a video tomorrow, but then I'm going whale watching for 2 days. So it'll be spotty Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I will definitely try to make at least one video during that time. But no guarantees, and I have no idea what the Wi-Fi is going to be like. It's a tiny little town up on the Pacific side of the Baja Peninsula. I'm so excited for it. I've actually been able to see whales right out here, right out off my patio, not too far, spouting and also jumping out of the water a little bit. So I'm so excited. As you can see, I got a couch delivered, and I bought some artwork. That's actually a pelican back there. Oh my gosh, I love that thing. I was so happy when I found that. San Jose del Cabo every Thursday night has a big art walk, a big art show, and outside vendors and activities and food and entertainment type thing going on, music. So anyway, just had a blast. All right, so Queen Elizabeth. She came in very frail and old today, and I don't know why. You know, she chooses this stuff. So I'd say in her early 90s there, and she always, when she's in that form, when she's in her human form, she always seems to have like these figures around her, like a couple of helpers, as if she actually is old and she needs help getting up the stairs and that kind of thing. It's really bizarre. I haven't really had too much of a chance to hone in and focus on these other beings with her, but I think eventually we'll figure this out. So thought that was interesting to note. And I was really feeling my heart open for the Queen tonight in that state. Like, oh my gosh, you know, she passed away at 96 years old. That is a long time on this planet. Wow. Especially doing what she was doing. All right. I said, hello, Queen Elizabeth. I said, you are beautiful in any form. Thank you for your patience with me, taking yesterday off from our discussion. It was a nice break, and I hope that we have a full 2 hours here. I'm hoping for the best, because remember, one time recently we were kind of cut off short. So this worked out perfect today. She said, thank you, Shauna. It's good to be back. I'm glad that you had some time away and you're able to have some fun. Of course, we get to follow you here on this side of the veil. We know everything that you're doing, and we get to come along for the ride and enjoy it just as you do. How cool, huh? Who else gets to say that Queen Elizabeth is tagging along as you go get a morning coffee and that kind of thing? Yeah, this is my world. Yeah, it's our world. Fun times. I said, wonderful. I said, I love having you. Thank you for that. Thanks for your patience and graciousness here. Oh gosh, Shauna, she said, thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing with such a busy life and all these commitments and responsibilities. I can absolutely relate. I'm like, oh yes, we know that's for sure. You certainly can. Yes, dear one, she said. All right, I said, all right, Queen Elizabeth, wherever you'd like to start. Thank you, Shauna. Going back in history once again. We are walking the River Thames. It's a gorgeous sunny afternoon. I'm smelling the fresh air. I'm closing my eyes, and I'm allowing the sun to warm up my skin. Such a delightful afternoon. My husband, Prince Philip, is nearby, but I don't see him right now. And I just take a brief moment to stop, just take a few breaths, and then I just start sobbing. So conflicted was I. And just a brief little interjection here. River Thames, that at the time I've actually been on this river. It's the big river that flows through London. But at the time I was like, oh my gosh, River Thames, where is this? Where is this? I was not, I wasn't putting two and two together. So I was very relieved when I looked this up. Oh yeah, this is the river that flows through London. And she, just a quick little bit of research before I made this video, she's been on this river a ton of times. I didn't get the date of this when she, started crying. I don't know. When I kind of was seeing some of the imagery that was going along with this, I'm going to say somewhere between like 35 and 40. All right, so she'd taken a pause then after she said, so conflicted was I. It was but a brief moment, she said, and as my husband caught up with me, I looked away as I often do, and he was none the wiser. At least, he pretended not to know or see. By this time, I was feeling very much alone. I remember that we boarded a boat on the river and we drifted and drifted. And in those few moments, I had decided that it would be easier on myself and for all those around me if I were to just succumb to the forces at play in my life. No more trying to be strong-willed. No more thinking that I had some measure of control over my life decisions. That just letting go with an outward smile on my face would be the path of least resistance. And I remember with that decision that a part of me ran cold. My heart had shifted, and suddenly there I was just feeling a bit of detachment. And I remember thinking, well, this certainly feels odd. It was so quick. It was as if a light switch had been turned off and the room had grown cold and dark. For the briefest of moments, before the light had completely left that room, I thought to myself, what have I done? And within 24 hours, I had lost touch with that light altogether, as a bit of numbness took over my experience. Looking back on this time, from where I sit in this moment, I can see that there really wasn't a personal choice there at all for me. This too had been preordained. And I also see from this enlightened vantage point that this would signify a major transition in my reign as queen. And it would also be the deconstruction of the last bits of personal identification that I had been hanging on to up to this point. And she took a long pause here. If I would have left things up to my human personality self from before that time, I may have tried to exit this world early. It had become increasingly harder and harder to stay connected with myself as an individual, to stay connected to love, even to stay connected to joy. And then after that day on the river, I felt as though I had just given up. And in that moment, as the last bit of light faded from my world, I experienced deep regret and shame. But even those feelings went away in short order, and there I was. I had entered a new reality. It was as if I had forgotten all about the Elizabeth I used to be before that switch was turned off. It became such a faded memory. And eventually, I had no way to relate to it at all. And in some ways, my life after that point was easier. Less internal conflict, less feeling, less thinking. And this is when the reptilian hive mind took the reins most fully in my world. I'll repeat that. And this is when the reptilian hive mind took the reins most fully in my world. Imagine an animatronic body receiving signals, she said. The local personality self no longer had any control, and this was all-encompassing. And as time progressed, I forgot completely about Elizabeth, who she was before that boat ride. I completely lost touch with who and what I was. And I was just firmly entrenched in carrying out the negative reptilian agenda as if an avatar. And looking back on it now, I can see how cold and lifeless that existence had become. I will not be making any excuses for my actions, nor will I blame others for what I have done. However, my hope is that by relaying this information, you have a better understanding about who and what indeed were operating as me and through me. Another long pause here, just really letting that soak in. And then she continues. The reptilian hive mind, Hive, hive mind. They are able to create a network, their own local connected network. Conjoined minds that nearly act as one unit. This allows them to direct, guide, and control many people at one time. It also allows them to coordinate efforts between different people and different groups. Imagine one big central computer, she said, controlling many connected computers in real time. They are able to make any necessary adjustments in one area that may impact another area. At a moment's notice, they can switch gears, pull levers, and observe how those changes impact other aspects under their control. It's a massively coordinated and comprehensive network, she said. Reptilian-controlled minds which allow the massive and widespread subjugation of humanity. There really is very little freedom of choice or free will at those levels. Even though it may feel as though there is some control, truly there is not. Yeah, team, so you remember that they made a pretty big deal about this before Queen Elizabeth started coming in, and I thought, this is going to be information that'll be important for what's coming, but I had no idea, it was going to be Queen Elizabeth coming in. So imagine this, guys. I mean, we don't really know how many humans are in the reptilian hive mind. I imagine that, these kinds of details will be forthcoming. And I took this time, she paused here, and I took this time to ask a question. I said, "Thank you, Queen Elizabeth. May I please ask a question?" And she said, "Certainly, dear one." I said, "So all the people here who are part of this reptilian hive mind carrying out the negative reptilian agenda, do they know that they are controlled in this way, or are they unaware that this is happening to them?" And she said, "Shauna, there is an awareness originally. Originally, there had been a choice, even though that choice was buried and almost inaccessible. But at a certain point, normally before incarnation, it was just assumed that you would continue on with your allegiance to the negative reptilians. Mostly, this is what you know. So over and over again, through many lifetimes, you just say yes on a certain level. And you incarnate on the planet, and you are reptilian in nature. You are plugged into the hive mind. And she continued here. And there is a level of awareness that that you are doing this, but just like me on the River Thames, when I decided that I would just acquiesce to this bidding and stop fighting, you lose touch with that divinity within yourself. And it is very difficult, if not impossible, to decouple yourself from that agenda. Much of this hive mind control, she said, is carried through generation after generation, through the bloodlines. Here we go again with the bloodlines. It takes extreme and intense force of will to tear oneself out of this grip. And she says, Shauna, this is what you have done a very long time ago, and this is what I am doing today. And there will be, and there have been, many others who have walked the same path, who will be walking the same path now that Mother Earth is ascending, as well as all of humanity. Wow, guys. So we have an open door here, she said, an opportunity that's never been greater to step away from this regime and work on behalf of the light. It's a beautiful time for the light, she said, and it's a beautiful time for the negative reptilian regime to fold up and cease to exist at this level. Yeah, we can all agree with that, right? And there was a nice pause there, and I kind of felt it wrapping up. And I said, thank you, Queen Elizabeth. Is there anything else that you'd like to add for today? She said, Shauna, just my extremely deep gratitude to you and to all who receive these transmissions. Thank you for your willingness to hear my stories. I know that I have a very long way to go, but I will start here. I will do all that I can to help this planet and all of her inhabitants transition into the higher frequencies of love. Exposure of this darkness will be but one step on this journey to peace and to wholeness. And that was all that she had to say today. I said, thank you, Queen Elizabeth. It was wonderful speaking with you. And I said, I do expect to speak with you again tomorrow. And I went back up the elevator. Okay, hive mind, reptilian hive mind, working as though like controlled from a central computer. We don't know how many people are plugged in this way, generation after generation, bloodlines. So obviously there's all kinds of rumors about which families, which bloodlines, but this seems even larger than those well-known families and bloodlines. I don't want to guess. I really don't know. I really don't know yet. But it's definitely interesting, you know. So we are definitely at least most of these reptilians, quote unquote, seem to be incarnating directly into human bodies. And that is in line with what the GFL has been talking about, Melchizedek and Cryon as well. There's very, very few people who are actually directly interfacing with a negative reptilian being in their reptilian form. So hive mind. So this is a incredible concept, and I think just wow, here we go to be able to dig into this a little bit further and understand that better. I think it's really huge. All right, team, thanks again. Thanks for your beautiful and respectful comments. Thanks for hanging with me through this. We've got a lot to cover, team. All right. I do expect to see you all tomorrow. I love you guys. Thank you. Mwah.